Okay, perfect. We're going to get started. So I have a really good little quick short lesson for you guys today, and it does have to do with mindset. Because it talks about the mindset of a leader, and we're all leaders, right? We all lead somebody, either a team or a business or a family, or maybe even multiple different people at once. So today we're going to talk about the four questions to ask if you are looking for a leader, you are growing a leader, you are wanting to be a better leader yourself or have a better mindset around leadership yourself. And these came from John Maxwell. They're from a recent podcast that he did that I just loved so much. Does anybody want to post in the chat something that you're grateful for today? Would love to hear something that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for all of you that have shared the Facebook group, because holy crap, we are up like a lot of members. And I've been getting a lot of messages of people going back and watching previous episodes. Oh, thank you so much, Monica. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So happy for you guys.
I just told Heather, I keep looking down to make sure that I haven't lost the ring, that it's still on my finger, like every 15 minutes or so. Yes, thank you guys so much. It was thanks, Rochelle. It was we are very excited. I told people I finally said yes, and he told people he finally said yes. So we are we're making each other laugh with it. But anyway, anything you guys are grateful for, would love to type in the chat. Yes, Blair, we're grateful for you. Pam, oh my gosh, too funny. Thank you. Yes, it is. I know I gotta we're waiting on like the paperwork or whatever to add my ring to my insurance. Have you guys ever done that? It's like kind of a process apparently. So yeah, that's what I'll be working on this week too. Okay, guys, so how to know, spot, form, and be a potential leader. And these are the four questions that you will want to ask. And I absolutely loved this so much. And I have more notes, so I'm going to read some from my phone also. I put like the highlights on here. And then I'll share with you some of the other things too. Here we go. Okay, so the first question is, are they grounded? And here's what John Maxwell says about are they grounded. Being grounded is the foundation of leadership, and it's the foundation of having a great mindset. And he said, just as you would think, I know we have a lot of real estate people on the call, just as you would think of a house being built, the foundation determines the size of the building. And so the foundation of a leader determines how far they're going to go. He says this is really getting maturity under their belt and grounding them. It's having good values. When they learn and they have good values, they become more valuable themselves, which is so super true. He says you must be grounded and better on the inside than you are on the outside. And I really loved that, because you can think of certain people who maybe on the outside, you see them one way on the outside, and then maybe type in the chat if you've ever experienced this. It definitely I have. You see them on the outside and you think these like great, amazing things, and you think that they're this great person, and then you actually spend time with them and you're let down or disappointed because they aren't really who you thought that they were. And so that's when he says about you must be grounded and better on the inside than you actually are on the outside. Does anybody know who this gentleman is in the photo? No. Okay. This is Truett Cathy, who founded, I think that's how you say his name, who founded Chick-fil-A. And so one of the, yes, Chick-fil-A. Yes, Fauna, ding, ding, ding. So he said something that I thought was so amazing. He was asked in an interview really early on with John Maxwell, and he were doing an interview. And he said, my goal is not to grow fast. Our goal is to get better. If we get better, then the customer will demand that we actually get bigger. And I thought, gosh, that's so good. That's a perfect example of someone who's grounded and better on the inside than they are on the outside. That's having a grounded mindset and being a grounded leader. And he said, if you grow on the outside without growing on the inside, it's only a matter of time until the outside crumbles. So the first question you want to ask is, are they grounded? And you could even ask these about yourself and really do a deep dive on how you feel like you are personally, but definitely in other people. And the reason why I want to share this too is because I think Linda and I actually just did a podcast on who you hang around matters. And that's why I love doing this, because who you hang around matters. And if you hang around people who have all of these qualities, then your mindset is so much better, and you begin to grow in those qualities too. So the second question is, are they growing? And he said that this is the measure of the potential of a person, and their leadership, and also of their mindset, to be honest. And so when you think about that, you have to think about, do they have growth potential? And so that's a big one. Do they want to grow? He says, and sometimes you don't know this until you actually put them in the game, or you get in business with people, or you hang around them, or you become friends with them. You don't really know some of that stuff. It can be masked on the front side. But he says that the leader, or you or me, is responsible to develop a culture of growth. So to give people the opportunity to grow, because growth is not automatic. You have to be intentional with it. And you have to know that you can never stop. I mean, when you look at some of the most successful people, who, I guess, think about that. I would almost guarantee you that every day they learn something, or they put themselves in a situation to grow and to learn somehow. And so we have to give people the opportunity to be able to grow. John says that the one thing that's made him so successful is he's always grown. I mean, he wakes up every day and wants to learn something. He says that if you ever hear somebody say that they look back and they had their best days, he said that's a single indicator that that person has stopped growing, because you should never really look back and say those were the best days. You should constantly be in or moving towards your best days, no matter where you're at in your life or your business or how old you are or any of those things. And he said that that's the single thing that made him most successful. He said that a lot of times we think with a goal mindset, which I can be guilty of this too, but we need to think with a growth mindset. He says that if you can determine your strengths, your personal strengths, so know what your strengths are. We've talked about that before. What are the unique abilities that God gave you that are your strengths? If you can determine your strengths, and then you also know what you need to do to be successful, then you'll be great. And then he says, this is the key question to think about. A lot of times we think about how long is something going to take, but we need to ask, how far can I actually go with that? So not how long is it going to take me to succeed in this role, or how long is it going to take me to, lose weight, or I don't know, whatever it is that you're thinking. I'm getting ready to go on vacation, Heather and I are, so that's what's on my mind, just figuring out how to lose a little bit of weight before we go. So whatever it is, it's not how long will it take, it's really how far can you actually go, because that's the mindset that great successful people have. And that's the mindset that happy people have, right? They want to be able to do that. The third question, and this one I think is I think number 4 might be the most important, but this one is, they're all important, is are they grateful? And he says that this is actually about the perspective of a leader. And he kind of goes into a couple of stories about this, but he says that when we are not grateful, sometimes we can turn into have a little bit of resentfulness. We can become resentful. And he says that the moment that a leader or a person starts resenting either what they do and or the people that they are leading, or the people that they work for, everything starts to go south. And then he said that entitlement starts to sink in. And he said that at that point, you take advantage of your people, and they're there to serve you, instead of really what it should be, that you're there to serve whoever is in your world, whether, again, that's people that you work with, or your family, or your kids, or whatever that looks like. That's what you were there to do. And so he said that you almost have to do an attitude perspective check. And he said this is good for everybody to do. Every single day, he would have people think about what they're grateful for, and then who they get to lead and who they get to be around. Because he said when you're doing that sort of a check on yourself, then you're in a mindset, and you're a joy to others, and you're a joy to want to be around. And I think all of us would say that we want to be a joy to be around. Maybe not every day are we a joy to be around, but we want to be a joy to be around. And if we get off track, we have to quickly get back on track. But here's what he says about this. He says, every day you need to be grateful for your gifts, because everybody has different gifts. And we've talked about this before. And he said, we didn't deserve them, but for whatever yours is, you have it. And God gave it to you for a specific reason. And he said that typically whatever your gift is it's out of your natural ability. It's just your gift. And so he said, we need to continue to express gratitude, because that keeps us balanced. It keeps us being a grateful person. It keeps us in perspective. And so we don't go off course and think about ourselves more than we should, or we don't get, like, as my mom, Linda Gentry, would say, on your high horse. You don't get on your high horse. So being grateful keeps you in a good headspace, and it keeps things in perspective. And then he said, here's the thing, because you'll see a lot of successful people, and great leaders may work really hard and they try to do really well. And when they do, they usually have way more than what they deserve to have. And I think a lot of us, if you think about it, we really probably have a lot more than we deserve to have, and we have a lot more than a lot of other people have. And so we just need to remember that, and we need to always keep a mindset of gratefulness, and also remember, when you're looking for other people in your lives, or if you're hiring people or bringing them into your world or whatever, that's a quality that you want to look for. And then the fourth question is, are they generous? And so this is a really, really important question. And John talks about this all the time. And I know you guys have heard me say before, but he always says that whenever you're around him, he'll say, nobody is going to be more generous than me. Like, no one will outgive me. And that's always, I have always wanted to live by that model too. And that's really why a lot of people have to switch. I coach so many agents that say this, and have conversations with so many agents that say that they're good with the amount of money that they make. And even a lot of people who aren't in real estate, just whatever their role is or their job is, they always say that they're good with that amount of money. And I used to really struggle with that. And the only reason is because the more money that you make, the more that you can do for other people, and the more generous that you can be. And so he says that the more generous that a person is, the more people that they'll actually bless. And it actually comes back. And he says, you don't add value to people if you're not generous. You're actually the opposite of that. And you want people to add value to you. And so you have to really think about, are you generous? And then are the people in your world generous? And I was actually thinking of somebody that I work with lately, and we were talking about another opportunity for her, and she's great at it, and she'll do so good at it. And so we were kind of working through, like, hey, how can we make this work? And it wasn't me that was going to be paying her, it was somebody else. And she said, I hung up, and then I called and told Adam, I was like, gosh, this is just like made my heart warm. She said, I want to go do it, but you're the reason that I kind of got the opportunity. So I feel like you should financially benefit from it too. It shouldn't just be me financially benefiting. And I said, well, you're the one doing the work, and no, I want you to have the opportunity. So you should be the one financially benefiting. But it was just that she's a generous person. And that's the type of people that I like to have in my world. So you just have to think about that. And then John shares a story. So this picture is of Casey Crawford, and he owns a super large mortgage company called Movement Mortgage. I don't know if any of you've ever heard of Movement. And Casey is my funny story about Casey. I have a picture with Casey, and I was trying to find it before this, and I couldn't. And Heather and I were driving to Indiana, so didn't have time. But anyway, so I found this one. But my funny story about Casey is I had him come speak at an event one time in our region, and he's this super nice guy, very down to earth, great speaker. He's just an amazing person in general. Not sorry for all the guys on the call, but for the ladies, he's pretty easy on the eyes. And so Rachel said yes. So I had him come speak to an event, and we had a room full of about, I don't know, 350 leaders in the room. And after he got done speaking, none of my girlfriends knew a word that came out of his mouth. I'm like, the message was so good, you guys. They totally could not even concentrate on what he was saying. So that's my funny Casey Crawford story. But what John tells is the story of Movement, and he's turned it into $1 billion company. And the only thing that he does is go and build schools around, like, the places that Movement is in. I mean, he literally did it because he is the most generous person ever, and he gives back, I mean, an insane amount. I mean, insane. You guys would die. He actually came and spoke to us I don't know, I guess that was in Florida. I'm trying to remember. And the stuff that he's done just even in the last couple of years, I mean, it is very motivating financially to make you think about, wow, I mean, the amount of money that he gives is insane. I mean, huge numbers, millions. But then John shared a smaller story about himself, and he said that when he was a new pastor and he was fresh into the preaching world, that he would come oh, Michelle said I had to have my admin come take a look at it. That's so funny. When John Maxwell was new in the pastoral world, he said he would come up with these really great things to tell, and he would talk to other leaders about it. And then he said he would have all these people come up to him afterwards and say, John, will you share your notes with me? Will you give me that outline? I want to go do the same thing. And he said, I know you guys are going to think I'm a horrible person, but he said, I thought to myself, no, I'm not sharing this with you, because this is what I have to use this to be successful. And I have to use this stuff so that people will want to come and listen to me. And if you start talking about it, then they're going to not want to hear me. They're going to want to hear you. And so he said he had to totally switch his mindset around it. And he said one day he just thought, you know what? That is not the right way of thinking. The more that I share and the more value that I add to other people, it will come back to me. And so he said that's when he started developing all of this material that he could go out and share with millions of people, because he said, I wake up every day to add value to people and to be of value. And he said, and I cannot do that if I'm keeping it to myself every day. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever been around somebody or you've asked for something and they don't want to share their stuff, it is so frustrating if you are a person who likes to share. So you just have to think about that. But one of the things that I love that John said, and this is a personal goal of mine and Adam's, is when you're in John's mentor program, and well, not even really that, it's way more than that. He has what's called legacy givers, and it's people that donate $100,000 a year minimum to equip John's foundation. And those are the people that like Chris Hodges, I know Pam, you're on, like Chris is in that group, and they're a part of the legacy givers world. And so, but John says that the thing that he learns the most is that those people, it's not just about that they're giving, money to his charity where he goes and changes countries. He says he knows that they have a generous spirit, period, the end. And that those are the type of people that he wants to be around, are people that have a generous spirit. So I hope that you guys enjoyed those 4 questions. And lastly, I just wanted to share this. I put this in the group, and I put this on my social media, and I'm printing it for my bathroom mirror because I love it so much. So I just wanted to end today with this. Do what you're called to do. Don't get distracted. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get derailed. Do what you're called to do. Stay focused. Stay faith-filled. Stay hope-filled. Do what you're called to do. Don't compare. Don't compete. And don't quit. And I feel like if we could just bottle this up and read it every single day, that this is just like the best thing that I've seen in a really, really long time. And I think it is so true. Gosh, so true. Yes, Mike, thank you. Grounded, growing, grateful, generous. You got all 4. That is perfect. Yes, Tracy, same. I feel like we should all put that on our mirrors. So thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks, Dana.
Bye.